You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Coming up, Jerry Sitton stops by the studio to tell us everything we need to know about the largest German festival in the 4 states.
That's right. Also, a new medical study encourages the health benefits of standing instead of sitting at your work desk.
Well, that means I might as well get up right now and start walking over to the Skywatch Weather Center on this foggy day. But the fog will burn off and give way to partly cloudy skies. We'll tell you everything you need to know about the largest forecast in the 4 states coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Former Vice President Mike Pence is warning his fellow Republicans against politicizing the FBI in the wake of the search of former President Trump's Florida home. Comes as Trump associates face growing legal scrutiny in multiple investigations. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
At an appearance in New Hampshire, former Vice President Mike Pence came to the defense of the FBI, which some members of the Republican Party say should be defunded, angry at the search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
These attacks on the FBI must stop. Calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police.
The former vice president, who was at odds with Trump over January 6th, also now says he would consider testifying before the committee investigating the attack on the Capitol.
If ever any formal invitation rendered to us, we'd give it due consideration, but my first obligation is to continue to uphold my oath.
More Trump associates are facing legal questions. In Georgia, Trump's former personal attorney Rudy Giuliani appeared before a grand jury that's investigating interference in the 2020 election.
Do you believe President Trump is the ultimate target of this investigation?
I'm not going to comment on the grand jury investigation.
In New York, the chief financial officer of the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, is expected to plead guilty later today in a tax fraud case. And the Associated Press reports part of the plea deal could include him testifying when the Trump Organization goes on trial in October on related charges. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And in federal court today, a judge will hear an argument from several media organizations, including CBS News, asking for the release of the affidavit that justified the FBI's Mar-a-Lago search. The Department of Justice has said unsealing it could compromise ongoing investigations. There are also reports that Trump is considering releasing security camera footage from Mar-a-Lago from the day of the search. Well, if you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscast live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on App Store of your choice. Just search for KOAM Plus. Some good news for teachers as we embark on the fall semester. Educators who pay out of pocket for school supplies will now be able to get a bit more back on their taxes. The IRS announced teachers can deduct up to $300 worth of classroom necessities. That's up from the previous limit of $250. It's the first increase in 20 years, and it comes as schools across the country are facing staffing shortages. Although inflation has cooled down a bit, prices across the board are still highly elevated. If you've been wanting some sizzling hot Tex-Mex, today is the perfect day to fulfill that craving. That's because it's National Fajita Day. Mexican cowboys in Texas created the delicious dish in the 1930s. After a day of hard work, they would make a meal with the so-called throwaway cuts of beef and a tortilla on campouts. A couple of decades later, people started adding in cheese and vegetables, become the fajitas we love today. Of course, the best way to celebrate on Thursdays is to eat. Today, of course, is to eat some fajitas. Several restaurants are offering deals. Chili's has a mix and match special for $12. Moe's Southwest Grill is also giving $5 off a fajita meal kit, and that includes 12 tortillas, 2 proteins, plus all the toppings. I love fajitas.
These fajitas in particular look really good.
I think I know what I'm making for dinner.
So I'm looking forward to, and this is completely unrelated, and I'm sorry, but I'm looking forward to Earn a Fest this weekend because I was just telling you, Tanya,
the food. Oh my goodness.
The food is good. I don't do sauerkraut. I can't do sauerkraut, but everything else there is good. They've got a lot of cool things, and I know we've got an interview coming up to tell us all about it, but My wife's family heritage is German, so it's a big deal for them to go every year. And I didn't get to go last year, so we're going this year, and I am truly looking forward to it.
I'm so happy.
It's a lot of fun. It's a bit of a drive down there to Freistadt, but it is a lot of fun. So if you do have the opportunity to get out there this weekend, make sure you do. And we've got an interview that'll tell you more about Ernefest here in just a little bit.
I could probably give you 20 reasons off the top of my head to go because it's a blast.
But
yes, we're going to learn more about it coming up.
Big fun celebration. Not so fun is the fog we're still dealing with this morning. Now it'll eventually burn off as the sun gets higher in the sky. On our tower cam, there's Target we mentioned, so we're looking northeast toward MSSU. You can still see some fog in the distance, and as we start this day, 63 in Joplin under otherwise sunny skies outside of the fog. It's a little chilly to start the day too. Look at Lamar and Stockton at 58, so is Greenfield. 60 in Fort Scott, 63 Pittsburgh, and 60 in Veneta. As we go through the day, as I mentioned, the fog will burn off. Partly cloudy skies, afternoon highs pushing into the mid to upper 80s. Maybe some isolated T-storms on the Missouri side, otherwise most of us remaining dry. And then as we go through the night, partly cloudy skies with lows dropping into the lower 60s. So another nice evening ahead of us, and the wind's starting to shift out of the south, but it'll still be pretty light tonight. And the weekend, unfortunately, it's going to be a rainy one. Saturday and Sunday, scattered storm chances, but that's the operative word. Scattered. It's not a complete washout. 94 on Saturday, 83 on Sunday. So hot on Saturday, but not too hot, as I noted down there. Partly cloudy skies otherwise. And if you are doing anything this weekend, get the KOAM Skywatch weather app. If you haven't done so already, you can scan that QR code, or you can search your favorite app store for KOAM Skywatch weather just to make sure you've got the latest forecast and information everywhere you go from the Skywatch weather team.
All right, well, up next, a man claims he caught a 10-foot sturgeon. Sure, we've heard that story before, only he's got the pictures to prove it.
Also, researchers say part of the reason for Omicron's rapid spread came down to people not knowing they were infected. We've got the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
I want
More evidence to ditch that office chair, and Omicron likely went undiagnosed in more than half of those infected. Michael George has some of the day's top health stories.
A study in JAMA Network Open found 56% of people infected with the Omicron variant didn't know it. Researchers at Cedars-Sinai say those undiagnosed infections can increase COVID transmission and likely contributed to the fast spread of Omicron. Determining genetic risk for prostate cancer at primary care appointments could lead to earlier diagnosis in men. Authors of the British study say high-risk patients can be fast-tracked, and those with low genetic risk can avoid invasive biopsies. And stand up at work. A study out of the UK found standing desks, along with other measures, cut office workers' sitting time by an hour a day over the course of a year. That led to small improvements with stress, well-being, and energy levels on the job. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, researchers are looking into the benefits of hugging. Scientists at the Cleveland Clinic say giving somebody a hug releases a chemical called oxytocin. That feel-good chemical is what helps you bond to other people, and the release of oxytocin also reduces cortisol, a stress hormone. Now, a recent study says hugging didn't reduce stress in men, but it does in women. I disagree with that study. Effective hugs can run 5 to 10 seconds. Now, keep in mind, though, not all people like hugs. I was trying to hug Gabe, but Gabe did not want to participate. But according to that study, it wouldn't have benefited us anyway. So, I mean, I guess whatever. We'll just, we'll go without any hugs today. That's fine. But when I get home, I'm going to hug the wife because I like that. And it does reduce my stress, and I certainly hope it reduces hers. Hugging the kids is great, too, so make sure you do that as well. Hugs are great. I don't know what that study's talking about. It reduces my stress, but maybe I'm also a little crazy. That's possible. We got some fog to deal with still this morning, but the sun is coming up, and as it does so, the good news is it'll, of course, burn that fog off. Until then, we do have some patchy areas of dense fog across the region. 63 in Joplin under otherwise sunny skies, and we're sitting pretty chilly to start the day for most of us. Check it out. 59 in Nevada, 58 Lamar, 58 in Stockton and Greenfield, so a cool start for some of us. 63 Chanute and Parsons, 66 in Columbus. They're actually the warm spot on this map. 61 in Miami and Grove, so a very nice start to an August day. Remember, despite those temperatures, we're still in August. As hard as that is to believe after yesterday and last night and night before that, it's still August. Today will kind of remind us of that, though, as we have highs pushing the mid to upper 80s. Maybe some isolated storms on the Missouri side, but otherwise not too bad overall. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Temperatures once again getting into September mode here, or even October mode, going into the lower 60s once again with a light south breeze. The weekend. It's going to storm, unfortunately, Saturday and Sunday. Now, the good news is this operative word right here, scattered thunderstorms. It means it's not going to be a complete washout. You'll want to keep an eye to the sky. 94 Saturday and 83 on Sunday. So when you are out this weekend, whether you're at Ernafest or any other event, or just out on the water, download the KOAM Skywatch Weather app if you don't have it already. You can do so by scanning that QR code or by searching KOAM Skywatch Weather in your favorite app store. That way, you've got the Skywatch Weather team with you wherever you go this weekend to keep you updated on any showers and thunderstorms in your area. As we go through the day, again, the partly cloudy skies, there's some of those isolated showers and storms, maybe one or two in southeast Kansas, but they're mostly on this side of the state line. Partly cloudy skies, again, this evening, temperatures getting nice and cool. Then look off to the northwest. Our next weather maker starts to make its way in here by Friday, and a few scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday before, as we mentioned, they really pick up going into the weekend. The storms keep our temperatures reasonable on Monday, upper 80s, and then we slowly creep back into the lower 90s by the middle of the week, and overnight lows pleasant all around in the 60s. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back. This morning, we've got one of my favorite people in studio with us, Jerry Sitten from the Freistadt Lions Club, joining us to talk about the four states' largest German festival, Ernfest.
Well, thank you for having me. I tell you what, we're excited about carrying it on.
Yeah, this is the 48th year for it.
Yes, we missed 1 year.
Just one.
Yeah, just one.
We missed a lot during that time, but
yes, and we're trying to get back to normal. So
last year was your first coming back after taking that break for the pandemic. How was the turnout last year?
Well, actually, it was really good because people want to get out and they want to enjoy something normal.
And it's an outdoor event. It's fun. It should be cooler temperatures this week.
Well, it is, and I tell you what, I'm always tickled to start, and having that music, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah. So this is your chance to check out some polka music, and you have other bands playing too. Let's talk about when it starts and all the activities.
Well, it starts what we say. 4:30 it says here, but 5 o'clock. If you get there at 5 o'clock, you'll be in time to hear the music and enjoy other people that come out. That's one of the biggest things that I always enjoyed, just seeing other people.
Yeah.
People like this first time you and I have been able to meet in a couple of years, and I tell you what, I always enjoy it because you have that smile and enthusiasm, and that's what we like.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have learned to polka dance since the last time I was at Ernfest, so it's kind of
in
exciting
Freistadt, yeah.
Yeah, in Freistadt, yeah. What is you have a German polka band coming down from St. Louis.
Right,
Yes.
Die Spitzbaum.
Die Spitzbaum, what does that stand for? Maybe we don't want to know.
Well, that's just the name of the band. So they want to be German, of course. And I listened to them online, and I tell you what, they're really good. I'm excited about having a really good German band and having that music. And you're going to be there dancing, I understand.
I'll do my best.
So.
But okay, so we have them playing Die Spitzbaum playing from 4:30 to 8:30, and then from 8:30 to 11:30 you have another band.
Yeah, the Playboys, which is they got the male vocalist of the year and band of the year, so they play different types of music for maybe the younger crowd that is.
Are they more of a country genre?
Well, they play country and pop both.
Okay, a little mix.
Yeah, it is. So we're looking forward to having really two good bands. They're probably as good as we've ever had.
Okay. All right, and then of course there is the beer garden set up, and you have some German beers and.
Oh yes, well, yep, we do have that, and a lot of people come and just enjoy the evening. Bring a designated driver. We want everybody to come back, We don't want anybody in trouble. So it's for a fun time and an enjoyment time. And it really have to comment about all the people that work there in our community. Our community is probably 200 people, but you can't believe we have all 200 people showing up to work to help the community and help all these organizations, for the blind and for Seeing Eye Dogs and that type of.
It takes a village, yeah. And the preparation that goes into making all the food for the day, like you're going to have your traditional bratwurst and sauerkraut, German potato salad, lots of fun. Oh yeah, the
schnitzel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the last couple of years we've had schnitzel, and I tell you what, it's really good. So.
Okay, of course, the point of all of this is to raise money for a good cause. Let's talk a little bit about what that cause is.
Well, all the various, do you have a list of those, some of those, you might just tell us what all is on there.
Okay, so for the Eye Research Foundation, Services for the Blind, community projects, you give a lot to youth projects in the area too, like 4-H and...
Yeah, we actually have a building on the grounds now for 4-H projects, so another thing that we do for the community.
And you guys have a hearing van as well.
Right.
Okay, all right. That's really cool. Okay, so over the 48 years, you guys, with this event alone, have raised $704,000?
That's correct. That's, I've been there for most of it, and I'm always amazed at how much money that we actually raise to help other people. And it's a community-wide effort. It's the women get together and put all the food together and all the preparations in the grounds. Well, we've been doing it for about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big event. This is huge for the area. One important thing is, let's tell folks, how do you get to Freistatt, Missouri?
Well, from where?
Let's say you're coming on I-44.
Okay.
Yeah.
I-44 from Joplin. You take the Freistatt exit and go on the South Idle Road, and it'll come to H Highway, and that'll take you right into Freistatt.
Follow the signs.
Follow the signs.
You'll get there. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on this
morning. Well, thank you for having us, and we're looking forward to seeing you and all the other people to come and celebrate end of harvest. That's what Artefest means, end of harvest.
End of harvest. Yeah, it's the beginning of the Oktoberfest celebrations. So.
Another celebration.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you again for coming
Thanks.
on. We'll be right back. It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Gene Day. Medic Day served in the Army during World War II. He served in Germany with the 78th Infantry. During his service, he earned the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star. We thank you, today's four-state hero, Gene Day. Well, a fishtail is like a tall tale. Totally exaggerated.
But every bit of this fishtail is true.
And it's not just about any fish. We're talking a record-setting fish.
Like they say, pictures, or it didn't happen.
Well, as Andrew Adams reports, it happened, and he's got the pictures to prove it.
Our family does a lot outdoors.
In a home that's no stranger to prized catches.
We're big bow hunters. We killed that elk a couple years ago with my bow.
One catch in particular is known for an extremely memorable tale.
It was way more than we expected, so.
Greg Polson says earlier this month, he and his wife took a fishing trip to Idaho.
It's a Snake River, but just up a little ways, they've got it dammed off, so it's a CJ Strike reservoir.
They were on the hunt for sturgeon.
We were expecting like 5-6 footers or something like that.
When Greg found himself a handful.
It just feels like you're reeling a refrigerator up off the bottom of the river. As soon as we hooked it up and I started reeling it in, the sturgeon came up and it jumped out of the water, and it was like something off Shark Week. It was huge. Like, we were all just like, holy crap. Then the guide started freaking out because he knew it was like a really big one.
It was a really big one.
Because it was 48 inches around, and how long it is, they got a pretty good idea how much they weigh, and he said it'd be somewhere around 600 pounds.
The fish was 10 feet 4 inches long, easily topping the Idaho State sturgeon record.
It was so big that 3 people was holding the bottom jaw, just on those 3 hands on the bottom jaw, so it was huge.
The sturgeon had to be released after it was caught, meaning it will never adorn the walls of Polson's home.
Usually I catch the littlest fish out of everybody, so I got really lucky this time.
He's just grateful for an unforgettable tale.
It was up there for sure.
A real-life fish tale that will be hard to top over time.
This was by far the best fishing experience I've ever had, not even close.
Well, the sturgeon wasn't the only big fish caught on the trip.
There were also 2 9-footers, an 8-footer, and a 7-foot-long fish. Those are big fish.
Wow, yeah.
I don't think I've ever caught anything that big.
Yeah, no kidding. I haven't, definitely haven't. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 as drought conditions continue around the world. Gardeners are turning to a new method that saves water and helps pollinators.
And speaking of pollinators, we brought you the story of a Canadian official who swallowed a bee during a press event. It created so much buzz that Jeannie Moose is here to take the sting out of it. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
News starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Nearly 100 dogs are rescued from a hoarding situation in Missouri. It happened over the weekend in Ray County near Kansas City. Sheriff's Office reportedly responded to the home after receiving a tip about animals in need. Inside, they found dozens of dogs, including puppies, living in alarming conditions. Several rescues were called in to help save the animals. The Ray County Sheriff's Office says the homeowner is complying with authorities. Most of the pups will be moved out of the home. If the homeowner continues to comply, they likely will not face any charges. With the recent rain, Cherokee County, Kansas Emergency Management is temporarily lifting its countywide burn ban. It'll be lifted for the rest of this week, and officials say they will reassess next week if it should be put back in place. You'll go bananas over a new addition to the Roger Williams Park Zoo in Rhode Island. This baby monkey was born just a few days ago. It's a golden lion tamarin, so named because of a yellow ruff that they have that resembles a lion's mane. This little monkey is so young, zoo officials don't even know yet if it's a boy or a girl, but it's already on display, riding on its mother's back as they do for their first few weeks of life. Golden lion tamarins live in Brazil and are considered endangered due to their loss of most of their habitat from logging and development. This little one will join 2 older siblings.
My youngest still clings to mom's back and mine. He prefers to ride that way. It's easier for him.
It's just like a ball of hair.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not looking close enough, you may not even notice there's a baby monkey riding on the mom.
Yeah.
Because he kind of just blends in there. Well, he or she kind of just blends in there. So, you got some obstacles that may be blending in this morning as you're driving thanks to some persistent fog that's holding on across the area. These gray areas are where we are still seeing patchy fog, and you can still see it on our tower cam looking northeast toward Missouri Southern from 7th and Range line. Otherwise, in the city of Joplin, it's sunny and 63 as we start this fine August day. We are looking really good to start the day, too. 62 in the Yates Center, 60 Iola and Fort Scott and Nevada and Stockton and Greenfield, 64 in Columbus, 60 in Miami, 62 in Neosho and in Cassville. As we go through the day, it's going to be a really nice August day, considering that it could be a lot hotter. Highs pushing the mid to upper 80s later today, and maybe some isolated storms this evening, but those will be mostly on the Missouri side of things, with an east wind at 5 to 10. Going into tonight, partly cloudy skies, temperatures dropping off once again into the lower 60s with a light south breeze. In the weekend, we do have scattered thunderstorm chances Saturday and Sunday. 94 on Saturday, so hot, but not too terribly hot. And then 83 on Sunday. The key operative word here is these are scattered storm chances, so not a complete washout, but it does mean you should have the KOAM Skywatch Weather app and download it by scanning that QR code or by searching for KOAM Skywatch Weather in your favorite app store. That way, you've got the Skywatch Weather team with you everywhere you go, in case there are any storms that pop up. Those temperatures get knocked down for a couple of days at least following the rain, and then they start to creep back into the lower 90s by the middle of next week. By the way, tomorrow, maybe some evening storms as well with an afternoon high in the low 90s. We got more of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Get low APR financing plus no payments for 90 days on Rogue.
Love may be forever, but these offers are not. Race to the Stables Casino. July 31st to August 28th, become a top 5-point earner and win up to $500 in cash and horseplay every week in August when you race to bank. Also, check out our other promotions: Hero Rewards, Wednesday Hot Seats, and new Senior Sundays. Guests 50 and older can win up to $40 in horseplay. Visit thestablescasino.com or the Gold Club for full details. Race to bank at the Stables Casino in Miami, Oklahoma.
Cool summer savings at American Freight Furniture Mattress Appliance. Why wait? Take it home today for $0 down and no interest for up to 12 months. Up to 60% off MSRP on brand name mattresses. Plus, buy any mattress, get a free sheet set up to a $49.99 value. Up to 61% off MSRP on reclining furniture. Save up to 55% off appliances. Back to school savings. Desks from only $149.99. Sofas from $249. Same day delivery ends August 31st. Visit American Freight in Joplin.
We won the KC Sweepstakes, the Summer of Freedom Sweepstakes.
Shop with Casey's Rewards for a chance to win free pizza, gas, and getaways all summer long.
Summer of Freedom Sweepstakes.
This morning, we're discussing a second chance for people in prison. The Dig Deep Farm at the All-In Foods Project at Arden Woods Farms has a unique labor force. Now, the project was originally developed by the Sheriff's Department to help recently incarcerated people get back into society with marketable job skills. Now, some say that the farm project is a win-win-win situation, and here's how. They're providing food to eat, but they're also doing what's known as regenerative farming, in that they're capturing global warming carbons and putting them back into the soil, which is good for environment and the crops. They're also providing a second chance to incarcerated individuals who they see as an investment, and of course that's good for the community. So our question to you, do you believe that incarcerated individuals deserve a second chance? 91% of you say yes, 9% of you say no. Make sure you vote through our website, the app, and take part in the discussion on Facebook. Well, the jokes are swarming after a Canadian provincial leader swallowed a bee during a press event. It has the internet abuzz. And we have this story here because he's not the first leader to be bothered by bugs. Jeannie Moose has more.
Watch a bee make a beeline into the mouth of Ontario's premier.
It's coming from the health sector. Holy Christ. I just swallowed a bee. Holy Christ, I knew that little bugger. Oh.
Drown that sucker, but instead of being a buzzkill...
I'm good, he's down here buzzing around right now. He has a lot of real estate.
It livened up Premier Doug Ford's press conference.
Holy Christ, he's wedged in my throat. Sorry, guys. Little bugger got away in there.
Apparently the only sting Ford felt was mockery. Doug Ford's bee created a parody Twitter account, and a fellow politician tweeted a photo of himself dressed as a bee to tease Ford. There was the inevitable remix.
Holy Christ, I just swallowed a bee.
Ford joins the ranks of politicians pestered in public by insects, like the one that trekked across President Trump's forehead and then receded into his hairline. Joe Biden and Mike Pence both served as landing strips for flies. President Obama famously nailed one.
Now, where were we?
But the guy who truly experienced what Ford felt was a reporter.
That led to Chris Wood's death. The is that?
That was a grasshopper.
Did you eat the grasshopper? No, I didn't. Spit it out immediately.
Not Doug Ford. He did show up a couple of days later with a prop.
Hold on. There, I finally got him. He's twice the size that he came in at, I'm telling you.
The actual bee Ford tried to fish out with a finger, lucky to avoid a stinger.
Come on, sting me.
Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
There's so many opportunities.
I've had that happen to me once or twice. Riding my bike, I swallowed a bug, and it was the most awful experience in the world, but a bee is even worse. And then that reporter, I've watched that video 100 times, and I always think about that when I'd be out in the field, and literally in a field, I'm always keeping an eye. I would get chased by bees. I have to tell you a quick story. So I worked at another TV station many years ago, and I was filming something for one of our reporters. She was with a bunch of motorcycle guys at the end of this parking lot at Missouri Southern. And so we had the big old cameras, and I've got my arm up like this, and I feel a tickling right down here. and I look down, and it's a large bee, and I don't like bees, so of course I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I made it mad, so it started swarming me, and so I yanked the camera off the tripod, and it was a big camera. I mean, well, compared to what we have now, and I'm swinging around at this bee, and I finally smacked him down and just stomped the life right out of him. And then I look up, and there's all these motorcycle guys and our reporter standing down there just staring at me about like that. That's a true story. I'm not making that up. And then I realized that, oh yeah, there were a lot of people here. So I just put the camera back on the tripod and went on about my day. Speaking of days, on this particular day back in 1955, remnants of Hurricane Connie killed 38 vacationers at Camp Davis near East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, by pouring up to 12 inches of rain. Nothing like that in our area. Now, we need the rain, but not 12 inches of rain. Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear, except to the south, where there's a few things still going on down there. Still dealing with fog across the area, but it will eventually burn off. You can see it on our tower cam looking northeast. In Joplin, if you're not in the fog, it's sunny and 63 degrees to start our day. We're all starting the day in the 60s now, 61 Iola, 65 Pittsburgh, 62 in Miami. And as we go through the afternoon, it will warm up. Temperatures pushing the mid to upper 80s for afternoon highs. Some isolated storms on the Missouri side. And as we go into tonight, partly cloudy skies, a light south breeze, temperatures back into the lower 60s. And a quick check of the weekend forecast. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. 94 on Saturday, 83 Sunday. Scattered the key word. It won't be a complete washout, but do keep an eye to the sky or check in on the Skywatch weather app. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, electric vehicle owners are getting new tax credits thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act. A previous credit offered $7,500 to new EV buyers, but only until automakers hit a 200,000 car limit. With the new system, buyers can still receive up to $7,500, but the limit has been removed. There are some new restrictions based on where the car's components are assembled. The new law also enacts limits on the cost of cars and the income of the buyers. And industry group says no electric vehicles currently on the market qualify for the full tax credit with the new requirements. Come on now. An Ohio judge is ordering Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens to pay more than $650 million in damages related to the opioid crisis. 2 Ohio counties sued the pharmacy chains for their role in fostering a black market for prescription narcotics. Federal judge ruled in their favor, ordering the drug retailers to make the payments for damages over a 15-year period. The judge agreed with the county's arguments that the pharmacies abused their special position of trust and responsibility in their communities. Local leaders in the Trumbull and Lake counties say the funds will go to programs to address the devastating impact of opioid addiction locally. Spokespersons for Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens all say they will appeal the judgment. New parents searching for baby formula may have a better chance of buying it now. The market research firm Information Resources Incorporated says out-of-stock rates for powder baby formula are showing some improvement. According to the firm's data, 25% of the infant products were out of stock last week. It's better than the rate was in mid-July when it hit a high of 31%. Stock rate for other baby formula, like ready-to-drink and liquid products, is better than the powdered versions. Only about 16% of these formulas showed out of stock. DNA technology helps law enforcement identify a suspect in a nearly 40-year-old cold case, but the technology can be costly. Laura Engel has more.
As the technology of investigative genetic genealogy continues to improve, so does the hope for many families who are still waiting for answers, years and sometimes decades after their loved ones fell victim to brutal crimes. Now, for one notorious case out of Northern California, there could be closure for a murder that seemed unsolvable until now.
I believe that we have a responsibility to these victims, no matter how old the case is.
Investigators in Santa Clara County, California, announcing they finally have a suspect in custody in the case of 15-year-old Karen Stitt, nearly 40 years after she was abducted, raped, and murdered using investigative genetic genealogy technology.
The reason that genetic genealogy is so powerful is because we are able to find those distant cousins. We're able to reverse engineer that family tree.
The practice uses genetic information that has been uploaded by consumers to databases trying to find lost relatives.
It took, a couple years to do it, but ultimately they came up with these four brothers.
Stitz was last seen by her teenage boyfriend walking to a bus stop in Sunnyvale in 1982. Detectives were able to develop a DNA profile of a suspect, but never got a hit in the National DNA Law Enforcement Database known as CODIS. Then in 2019, detectives enlisted an investigative genetic genealogist and found a link to a family member of Maui resident Gary Ramirez. Stitt's aunt releasing a statement after Ramirez was arrested, saying in part, "She could have been anything. We will never know because Gary Ramirez stole her life. With this closure, we hope to be able to move forward in a positive way." While there have been a number of crimes solved in this region with investigative genetic genealogy, it is a costly endeavor in most cases, but not every agency in America can afford to use it, something many hope will change.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Well, as drought conditions worsen out west and even impact parts of the Midwest here, there's a growing trend aimed at saving water and helping pollinators. It's called xeriscaping, removing grass and planting native, more drought-resistant plants instead. Kirsten Mitchell explains how it could help.
You can see how densely planted things are. I don't do a lot of weeding.
Elisa Bernick's St. Paul yard is flourishing, and there's not an inch of grass, let alone much soil, in sight.
You kill your lawn, and then you choose your plants and site carefully. Look where your microclimates are.
Using the technique of xeriscaping, she's created not just a garden, but an irrigation system of native and drought-resistant plants.
Overall, my water usage has gone down. My plants are thriving.
Her neighbor is now hopping on the growing trend.
She's killing her front lawn, which is fabulous, and we're going to go in together on some gardening, so that's exciting.
While xeriscaping may sound impossible in Minnesota's harsh climate, Elisa's garden is proof it's not, but there are some things to keep in mind.
Plants come to mind right away because they have evolved, and they evolve really well with different kinds of climate and different kinds of weather conditions. I think we have to be very flexible as gardeners these days.
Julie Weissenhorn with U of M Extension says xeriscaping can be beneficial for pollinators.
I would say start small.
Elisa says it comes down to patience and an open mind.
I think many of us are coming to terms with the fact that we don't want to be using more resources than necessary. Fertilizers, water, just this intensive sort of gardening that we kind of grew up with, but now we understand it's not right for the world. It's not right for the way we're moving forward.
Well, fog slowly starting to burn off. It's still hanging around for some of us, as you can see on the fog tracker, and you can also still see it on our tower cam at 7th and Range line looking northeast toward Missouri Southern. In fact, you can see Missouri Southern right back over there just behind Target. If you're not under the foggy conditions, it is sunny otherwise. 63 in Joplin right now, and of course it feels like 63. We're all in the 60s to start the day now. 61 Iola, 63 Yates Center, 61 in Parsons, 62 Miami, 63 Grove, and 62 in Anderson. Not a bad start to an August day. Now, as we go through the day, again, the fog does burn off, leaves us with partly cloudy skies, afternoon highs pushing the mid to upper 80s. And maybe an isolated storm or two, mainly on the Missouri side of things. As we head into the evening, partly cloudy skies hang around. Overnight lows getting back down into the lower 60s. This weekend, increasing storm chances Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, it's going to be 94, so it's hot, but not as hot as it could be for this time of year. 83 on Sunday. Again, these are scattered storms, so make sure you have the KOAM Skywatch weather app. You can scan it, that QR code, and download it, or go to your favorite app store and search for KOAM Skywatch weather. That way you've got the latest weather alerts and information right in the palm of your hand in case any storms do pop up around your area. So as we go through today, you can see where some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms are, maybe one or two in southeast Kansas, but again, mostly on the Missouri side as we all push those mid to upper 80s. Partly cloudy skies persist through the evening, and then look off to the northwest. Our next storm system starts to make its way in tomorrow, bringing us some scattered storms late in the day, with afternoon highs pushing into the 90s on Friday. And then the storm chances again really ramp up through the weekend. They clear out by next week, and temperatures progressively make their way back into the lower 90s. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The CDC is getting an overhaul after an internal review of its COVID-19 response. The report said the agency lacked the ability to respond quickly to a fast-moving public health emergency. CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky said the reorganization will focus on improving its communication and messaging skills. Former Vice President Mike Pence called on his fellow Republicans to refrain from attacking the FBI in the wake of the search of former President Trump's home in Florida. On Wednesday, Pence said he was troubled that a search warrant had been executed at Trump's estate, but added that calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police. And the Trump Organization's longtime CFO is expected to plead guilty to tax violations today. Alan Wieselberg allegedly failed to report over $1.5 million in free rent and other perks from the company over several years. 75-year-old is facing several months in jail.
After the fog clears out today, we will have a nice day. We're starting in the 60s. Afternoon highs heading for the mid to upper 80s with some isolated thunderstorms, mainly on the Missouri side with a nice east breeze. Breeze switches from the south and calms down a little bit. And we'll get back with partly cloudy skies in the lower 60s for overnight lows heading into the weekend. Scattered showers and thunderstorms both Saturday and Sunday. A high of 94 on Saturday, 83 on Sunday. Now, the good news is these are scattered storms, so it's not a complete washout if you've got something going on this weekend like Erna Fest. Otherwise, it's just going to be partly cloudy, but just do keep an eye to the sky and keep an eye to the Skywatch weather app.
All right. Well, the Virginia Zoo is looking for your help in naming a very special new addition. It's a baby siamang, an endangered ape found in the wild forest of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Habitat lost and poachers snagging the tree-dwelling primates for the illegal pet trade or have been threatening their survival. Norfolk Zoo is auctioning off the adorable baby's naming rights to raise money for its conservation programs.
Now, zookeepers still don't know the sex of the 6-week-old, so names should be gender neutral. You can submit suggestions until August the 26th. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather on our More Power Tour at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.